4 years later, Season 9 still holds up as one of the best Ninjago seasons produced. And there's a lot of aspects that fans agree are great. But one part that is overlooked and often dismissed is the Iron Baron, a villain who has been deemed boring and bland by much of the community. Here's the defense of the Iron Baron and why he's actually not so bad. Hey guys, in today's video we'll be checking out Ninjago's most overhated villain. And let's start off by discussing why this character gets a lot of criticism. He's not the most exciting villain. He doesn't have any cool superpowers or a crazy backstory. Also, Barrett's main motivation in this season is just that he wants more power, which at first glance seems kind of dull, but more on this later. Barrett is also overshadowed by Emperor Garmadon, who's definitely the more important villain in Hunted. So with these factors in mind, why do I think Barrett is a good villain? In my opinion, he feels very real. Some villains in the show are notoriously cartoony, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also like seeing a villain who is more realistic. And what I think is very strong about Iron Baron is he's a character who is like real people who have existed in this world. The Iron Baron is a dictator who enslaved his people with lies. Just words, not any crazy superpower. And personally, I can think of a few people in history who have done the same. Baron is probably the most relevant villain to the real world, and a scary reminder of the power of lies. And then there's his motives. Baron's motive is basically that he wants more power, and a lot of fans don't like that because he's already very powerful. So why does he need the dragon armor? I think the answer to this is really interesting. You see, Baron knows that his rule is a house of cards that could topple at any moment. He knows that if his lies were exposed, his subjects could stop obeying him, and that is exactly what happens. Baron wants more power to keep his slaves in check, to ensure that they can't rebel. So when Baron hears about the dragon armor, he's set on acquiring it, because he knows it would secure his house of cards. This isn't some super genius evil plan, but these are real motivations, and I think they're pretty interesting if you look into them. Another reason I like the character is because he's a very dark villain. The season strongly implies that Barrett killed his own hunters to get the dragon bone blade, and he lied and said it was the Oni instead. This shows what Barrett is willing to do to keep his grip on power. He's willing to kill his own subjects. In episode 92, Faith calls him out on this, and he doesn't even deny it, which is the pretty scary part. He then threatens to cut off the hands of anyone who opposes him. I feel like these factors definitely make Barrett a pretty intimidating villain. The last great thing about this character was his downfall, which was such a fitting conclusion for him. Barrett goes down because of lies, the same way he rose to power in the first place. Because he was so desperate for power, he couldn't even realize that he was being lied to. Barrett's final moments reveal him to be a spineless coward, and it is the consequence of him wanting more power even though he had enough, even though he was the most powerful person in the first realm. And it is just so satisfying to see him get what he deserves. So to sum up this video, Barrett is a villain who is relevant to the history of the real world, but also disturbingly relevant to the times we live in today. Barrett's motives, simple as they may be, definitely make sense. And also I think he's a very dark villain, and contrary to what a lot of people believe, he is pretty scary. And yeah, Barrett is definitely boring at times, particularly towards the start of Season 9. But I think a lot of fans don't give him the credit he deserves. He may not be as impressive as Ruby or Garmadon, but he is still a good Ninjago villain. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone you know, share your thoughts on the Iron Baron below, and I'll see you guys next time.